Now let's get into some of these final thoughts for week 3. This is kind of how we do it every single Thursday when it comes to kind of our last live show before we get to college football Saturday. And I think the biggest game in terms of impact is Tennessee going to the Swamp to play Florida. And for Tennessee, man, this could be the game that lights the fuse for this team. Because think about last year when they beat Florida in Neyland. The conversation changed around what they were going to be the rest of the way. We took Tennessee a lot more seriously after that game. But even more so, more specifically for Tennessee, this will be the conversation shaper for Joe Milton. Like whatever he does in this game, it's going to set the trajectory for how he's talked about nationally. He goes out and throws for 300, people are going to call him a Heisman Trophy frontrunner. If they lose and he throws 2 picks, people are going to say, well, I guess Joe Milton isn't Hendon Hooker. I guess Tennessee's not all that. I guess Josh Heupel's system isn't plug and play. They're going to start chanting for Nico. Like, I'm telling you, there's overreaction coming either way, but this game will determine how people overreact. Now, I also want to say this. Tennessee, you think about the shot plays, you think about Jalen Hyatt catching deep passes, but I want to hammer this home one more time. And if you've watched this show for any length of time, you know we feel this way about this. For Tennessee, this offense is a run-first offense. It is predicated on running the football. And so we're going to call our shot right now. If Tennessee runs the ball on Saturday for 4 yards a carry, that's going to correlate to Joe Milton having over 250 yards passing and multiple touchdowns. That's the way this thing is built. We run the football, cause you to commit extra numbers to the box. That safety has to creep down. Leave a one-on-one matchup for any one of our freak show wide receivers. We're throwing missiles, we're scoring touchdowns, and Joe Milton's stat line will look really pretty. So those two things go hand in hand for Tennessee in this game in the Swamp. For Florida now, this game, in a similar fashion, is a conversation shaper, but it's a conversation shaper around Billy Napier. I don't know if we're all aligned in what's at stake here for Coach Napier. Not in the sense that if he loses, they're going to fire him or something like that. I'm not talking about that. I don't think that's true. I don't think any reasonable Florida fan thinks that's true. But the opportunity in front of them, if they were to take down Tennessee, Billy Napier has a chance to just wipe the entire slate clean with what people said about him this past offseason and what they didn't do with Anthony Richardson and the talent they didn't have on defense. If they go out and beat Tennessee in front of the home crowd and reemphasize to the entire country, hey, this is what the Swamp is, this is what Florida football is, it'll put a lot of good faith in there for Billy Napier and what he's going to do at Florida. Because Tennessee now, they're the ones getting a lot of juice, a lot of the headline, a lot of the talking points, and deservedly so. But if you take them down in a rivalry game and hold serve at home, like, the conversation around Billy Napier changes, and I think you give a lot of those naysayers something to chew on. Similar to that Utah game last year. There were a lot of people saying things about Billy Napier and what he wasn't and the way they finished the year, but you pointed back to that game against Utah and said, well, that's some good faith, right? Here, chew on this a little bit longer. Digest that, figure out your talking point around that, come back to me, and then we can kind of have a conversation about it. This would be the same thing for Billy Napier. If they beat Tennessee, hand it to the naysayers, digest that, figure out why that isn't valid, and then come back to us, and we'll kind of restart this whole thing over again. So the naysayers are going to be naysayers, but this would give them something to keep them occupied, if you will, for a little bit longer. LSU goes to Starkville, Mississippi, play Mississippi State. And what have we talked about all offseason long with this team? Jaden Daniels, can you unhitch the wagon, as we like to say on this program? Can you cut it loose? Can you throw the ball deep? Like, that's really what it comes down to for this offense for LSU. We know they've got some talent on the offensive line. They've got some talent in that wide receiver room. When they run the football, they're one of the best teams in the country, in my opinion, because they have more shots deep. But it's all going to come down to, will Jaden Daniels take the shot? And I said it on our Tuesday show, I believe. We sat down with Jaden Daniels at SEC Media Day. We talked to him about it. We said, hey, a lot of people are talking about the offense needing to be more explosive. Your head coach is talking about we need to be more vertical in the pass game. And I promise you, Jaden Daniels had already heard that a million times before he sat down with us in Nashville. He was like, yeah, when we get one-on-one, I got to trust those guys to go make plays. I got to go take the shot for them. This is the game where I think we really see how far along we are in that arena. Because the way that Mississippi State plays mobile quarterbacks, in my opinion, what I saw them do last week against Arizona, they lose track of receivers. when the play gets extended, Jaden Daniels is going to have a chance now to uncork a couple deep and give his guy a chance. They may not be wide open. It may be one-on-one, and that's perfect for LSU because you want to see, will your quarterback give your guy a chance? That's all I want to see. Will you put it up? I don't care if it's incomplete. Heck, I actually don't even care if it's an interception. I want to see that you gave your guy a chance to go and make a play because the rest of the season for LSU, they're going to need that to be a part of the arsenal for them to get back to Atlanta. So big-time eye test week for LSU, big-time eye test week for Jaden Daniels. Speaking of tests, South Carolina's going to Georgia. It'll be a great test for South Carolina, but I think it's the first real test for Georgia. We say it a lot on here. Fall camp just ended in Athens. That's no disrespect to UT Martin. No disrespect to Ball State. It's just kind of the fact of the matter when you are back-to-back national champs. Now, what I want to make sure we say is when you start working out, roll with me here. When you get to the gym and you start lifting some weights, you don't jump right to hitting your max, do you? You don't walk in there, lift a couple of 5 pounds weights, and then say, okay, throw everything you can on the bench right now. No, you acclimate, you work up, and you eventually find a weight that you feel comfortable hitting, and you go after it. You try and max out. Georgia is going to be judged up against their max in this game against South Carolina. Like, we're going to judge Georgia what they did in the SEC title game last year against this game in Athens against South Carolina. And that's not fair. So I want us to get out ahead of that. They're breaking in a new OC. They're breaking in a new quarterback. Carson Beck and Mike Bobo. First time together in SEC play. Let's not judge them by their max. Let's not judge them what they're capable of because this thing is built to go for a third national title. Tons back on defense production-wise. Brock Bowers is an alien. Tons of pieces on this offense. Even through the portal, they went and got Dominic Lovett. He's going to be a freak show for them long term. Like, give it some time. Give it some time. They're a little bit dinged up at different places. Give it some time. Let them acclimate. This is a great test. Expect Georgia to still handle business. You still want to see them look efficient and see the potential for good things to happen. But if they go out there and they don't cover the spread, or if Carson Beck throws 2 touchdowns and 1 interception for like 200 yards, like, let's not just say they're going to be a weak team. Let's not be quick to define Georgia. We've said it on here a couple of times, but I want to really reiterate this for this game. Georgia's going to be fine. Georgia's built to go the distance again. This game is not the determining factor. It is a step in the right direction. This is a warm-up step for Georgia. No disrespect to South Carolina, but Georgia, they just played 2 teams that they have no business playing when it comes to games in October and things like that. Games in November. Give Georgia a second here. Give them a chance to really get rolling. Colorado, man, let's go back to them. Coach Prime is out to make a statement. We talked about it earlier in the live show. What Jay Norvell said, talking about how he was raised to not wear sunglasses in his hat when he talks to adults. That's what grown-ups do, or whatever he ended up saying there. Whatever the spread is right now for Colorado, make sure you take it. I think it was 20 to start the week, favoring 20 for Colorado. It's up to 23.5 before we got on air here. Make sure you take that. Get you some free money. Because I do not anticipate Colorado pulling any of the starters at any point in time. If they can score 100 on Colorado State, they will do that in this game. We saw the kind of edge they played with against Nebraska because it was a rivalry game and Shedeur Sanders felt like it was personal. This is more personal than that. This is out there for everybody to see. There's no misinterpreting anything. This is a very real edge kind of factor for Colorado in this game. Take the spread. Take the spread. Take Colorado with the points and enjoy yourself with whatever you end up winning on that game. A couple other games I want to talk about here. Some final thoughts on some games. Washington is at Michigan State. Michael Penix Jr., I think, has a chance to go ballistic in that game. Michigan State a little bit in disarray with the Mel Tucker situation. That's going to be a good game. I believe Washington's favored by 16 right now. Just watch what Michael Penix Jr. does in that game because he's trending, I think, to be a Heisman candidate. Going to throw the ball all over the yard. Rome Odunze is an absolute freak show for him on the outside. Jalen McMillan's a freak show for him, playing receiver as well. Like, they got a lot of weapons, but they go to East Lansing. What I'm trying to say is that's a really good game. That game means a lot for Washington. That game means a lot for Michael Penix Jr. to make a statement for the Heisman campaign. So watch that one. Penn State goes to Illinois. Could be sneaky. Could be sneaky. Illinois is a home dog by 2 touchdowns. Drew Aller's first game in Big Ten play. Same thing we said with Georgia. Give Drew Aller a little bit of time now. Let him kind of find his footing. Let him kind of find what he's going to be going forward. I'm not worried about Penn State covering the spread or not. I'm just worried about how they look when they get pressed. And I don't mean pressed when they're on offense. I don't mean like the defensive scheme and those corners are playing press. I mean when something doesn't go their way. When Drew Aller throws the interception. When they go down 7-0. When they go down 10-0. How do they respond? Because the roster is built to cover that spread. The roster is built to do whatever they want against Illinois. But how do they look when they, show their first bit of mortality? Let's watch that one. Should learn a lot about that. Also, Kansas State, they go to Missouri. This may quietly be the best game of the season. Or, best game of week 3. Not the entire season. It could be. We'll see what happens there. These teams don't like each other. Kansas State does not like Missouri. Missouri does not like Kansas State. There's been some trolling going on social media throughout the past offseason. Going to find out a lot about Will Howard going on the road. Now it's his team, and it was kind of his team last year, but you had Adrian Martinez. Bottom line, just watch that one. It's going to be a real good game. And Eli Drinkwitz, post-game is always good for a good soundbite or two. So watch that one. Should be competitive. I believe the line was right around 4.5 points. So keep an eye on that one. Should be close. Vegas thinks so as well. But those are kind of our final thoughts as we roll into week 3 here. We've been in the Prize Picks game a little bit here. You know that Prize Picks is bringing you the hard count. We appreciate Prize Picks, man. And right now, Prize Picks, we're going into our 3rd week here. And I kind of feel like Deion Sanders, what he said at the press conference. He's like, hey, don't let me get comfortable. Don't let us get comfortable now. We were a half yard away from maxing out that 3-square play this past weekend. We got a 5-square play for you here right now. We're about to break it down for you a little bit. Prize Picks, daily fantasy. It's free, it's fast, and it's fun. All right, so if you redeem code JD, 100% deposit match up to $100. You put in $50, Prize Picks, they match you $50 as long as you redeem code JD. Again, that goes up to $100. It's a great way to diversify your portfolio as well. You're watching the games. You want to make a little cash money with your boys. Daily fantasy from Prize Picks. That is the way to go. Also, really easy withdrawal. Okay, so here's what we got for this upcoming weekend. We got Jimmy Horn, receiver for Colorado. We got him less than 84.5 receiving yards. The reason for that being, I think everybody's going to eat this upcoming weekend in Boulder, Colorado. 84.5. Would not surprise me if he were to get more than that, but we're going to go ahead and put him at less than that right now because you got a lot of mouths to feed on that team. Shedeur Sanders, 3.5 total touchdowns. The offense goes through him. Lock us in for the more right there. Jaden Daniels, they play Mississippi State this week. His projection is half a rushing touchdown. We like him to get a rushing touchdown. We're taking more. The reason for that being Mississippi State, you watch the tape, played another Jaden DeLora from Arizona last week. They kind of struggled with the mobile quarterback. It didn't look like they were totally dialed in. I like him to get in the end zone. Go ahead and lock that in for a more. Travis Hunter, 0.5 receiving touchdowns. Give us the more. He may have 2 or 3 in this game. Go ahead and lock that in. Graham Mertz, half interception. We like the more there. I think Tennessee will get after him. So we like all of those. It's a flex play, meaning we don't have to hit on every single one of these squares to get some money. But if we do, 10x whatever you put down. So that's good news. Hit on 4, we double it. And if we hit on 3, still you don't leave empty-handed. So Prize Picks, again, redeem code JD, 100% deposit match up to $100. We got right last week, okay? This week is the week the dam breaks. Get locked in. We appreciate Prize Picks. We appreciate y'all rolling with Prize Picks as they are a part of the program, all right? Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.